What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Happy first day of the Planet Hulk season, and Skaar is the new season pass card. Today, we're going to hopefully break down in a new series everything you need to know to equip you to discern if Skaar is right for your collection. In this new series, my goal is to rapid fire through the must-knows of the new cards coming out, starting with my personal star ratings, to great synergy and combos I think are going to work out well within the first couple of weeks, to day one decks that are going to be competitive. Get you out there testing out the new card. Now let's break down the new card, Skaar, who is the product of Hulk swiping right on Kyera. And then, one thing led to another, and I don't know how else to say this, but, Hulk smash! Now, Skaar here is going to be the 27th 6+ cost card to come to the game, with only about 7 cards that can top his raw power. He's equipped with the ability to cost 2 less for each of the cards that are on your side of the board with 10 or more power. Now, combining just pure raw power with Marvel Snap's arguably best effect and cost reduction, you can figure that he's probably going to be a pretty good card. Now, we're going to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper and talk about my star ratings and breaking it down by category for Skaar. Now, our first star metric we're looking at is competitiveness. This is how good is the card. And actually, guys, I'll give him like a 3.5 out of 5. I think he doesn't have that many problems. He should be used a lot, and I think the metrics below are going to reflect this rating. However, Loki can use his stats against him. He has a couple of top-end decks, that he's not going to be the best against, but altogether pretty damn good. Now, look, I know sweating is great, but we're playing a card game. How fun is he as a card? Some cards are a lot more fun than others. I think he's pretty fun. Maybe like a 3.5 star here. I mean, he's not like making me go wild. He's not a Mr. Negative, but definitely has a fun ability. I mean, this is obviously subjective. If you find She-Hulk fun and just slamming down power, doubling up this power, and just cheating out a card that otherwise shouldn't be able to be played, I think he's going to be a good time. Now, by far, one of the biggest things to highlight about Skaar is his flexibility. The guy's going to work with a ton of different cards, but ultimately, virtually just about any deck. Most archetypes have ways to benefit Skaar and vice versa. I think he's going to be extremely flexible. I think you're going to be seeing Skaar in a bunch of different cooked up decks. Now, for the last rating here, guys, we have something that I feel like I should be adding from now on. Kind of sucks we have to, but Marvel Snap adjusts week in, week out. We're going to have like a nerf-proof category. If I think a card is just busted, I don't want to sit here and say it's a 5-star card if I think it's going to get nerfed. And sometimes I think it's kind of obvious. And looking at Skaar, I'm going to give him a 4.5, with 5 being, I don't think he's going to get nerfed. He seems pretty reasonable for the most part, outside of possibly the 4.5 comes into play with a potential power reduction, maybe. Maybe they take him down. We saw that with She-Hulk before, so I'm not going to just cancel that out altogether. But kind of like some other cards, he could be a little bit tough to end up nerfing. I don't think they'll affect his cost reduction or anything like that. So those are my early impressions. Whether you're on the camp of like you'd like to play meta competitive decks or you like to deck build, both of these should benefit from Skaar. But let's go and take a closer look at his best combinations in the synergies, and then we'll talk about the decks. Now let's go ahead and look at the top tier synergy for Skaar, and then some other cards that I think you can cook up and have some nice combos with. Now, first of all, we have the activators, right? These are cards to help pump out big power, and these are the decks and the archetypes that I see him fitting in the best. Now, obviously, Lockjaw, I think, is a natural fit for Skaar. It's an easy way to cheat out big-time bonus power. You can put Mjolnir in there to get Thor up. We're going to see a lot of Lockjaw decks, and obviously one of the easiest ways to cheat out big power. Now, Wave is another option you guys know by now. Easy way to at least get him down to a 4-cost card by turn 6. But Zabu's got to be probably one of the biggest. I mean, there's multiple 4-cost cards that can be 10 power early on. Let's take, for example, a Darkhawk on turn 3, Mystique on turn 4, and then bam, you've got a 2-cost Skaar that you can play on turn 5 with like a tech card. So there's a lot of areas where Zabu is one of his best fits. Shuri is another 4-cost card, and for that matter, Shuri Sauron is going to be one of the better combos for the card because obviously Typhoid Mary, Red Skull, a lot of ways to take advantage of both Shuri and Skaar on your team. Ghost Rider, Lady Sif, Black Knight with the Ebony Blade. All 3 of these are going to be awesome. I think Black Knight has a great home with Skaar and overall an awesome activator. Now, for support cards that are still top tier, I'm going to go with a few here. Now, I could pick a ton of 10 power plus cards, but I think She-Hulk and the way that she's designed is going to naturally work well with Skaar. So I think together they're going to have a 1-2 punch. And with Moon Girl, even more so. This is one of the best things. Doubling up high power, cost-effective cards like She-Hulk and Skaar now is just an awesome combo to have, and even better because, well, we've got a couple cards that can do it. Now, Kyera, of course, is Mama, and Armor just protecting not only himself, but all the big cards you play out and cheat early is going to be vital for the success for Skaar. Now, those are the top tier synergies. I think I could put some other ones in there, but let's look at just good synergy cards. And these are more of cooks, but you can definitely make things happen. Obviously, Venom, Death, Deadpool. These are easy cards to get to 10 plus power. And it's hard to sneak into a destroy list, but I think Skaar can maybe do it. Silver Surfer, you've got Sebastian Shaw, Gladiator. You can do the Surfer early, allowing you to play Skaar down for 2, plus a couple other cards on turn 6. I think that's a really cool synergy. Obviously, cards like Iron Lad, Warpath, Jubilee. These are ways to get other 10 power cards. Century, Atuma. These are cards that can work in decks and obviously will synergize even to make him a 4/11. Forge can tack on bonuses to just about anyone. Blue Marvel can do the same. Both of these, I think, are going to have a good home with Skaar. And then the only other ones I want to highlight on the list here are both Legion and Thanos. There's a lot of locations that can gift power. Let's say Nidavellir, right? This is a great way to easily get a free Skaar out there. But you could also take that advantage and make it all 3 locations, just making it insane to get his discount really easily. But also Thanos, who I think is obviously good for Lockjaw. But in the same vein, I think that once we get Obsidian Coal, you can play him in a Thanos deck, and it's another 10 power card, and that will ultimately probably be one of his best homes. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into some day 1 decks, and these are all ones that I was able to test out, and some deck shells that I really like. There's going to be some course of refinement over the coming days, but these shells should get you in the right spot. Definitely some small replacements meta-wise, and replace cards to your liking. But overall, all of these should highlight the easiest ways to get a discounted Skaar out there and really play to his benefit. Now, the first deck up, we do have Shuri Skaar, and this one's just a natural fit and definitely one of the first ones that a lot of us thought of when we saw Skaar. It is going back a little bit to the traditional Shuri build where She-Hulk had some play in line. You could do a Shuri into a turn 5 skip into She-Hulk Taskmaster, obviously playing Sauron on 3, Typhoid on 4, then you can also play Red Skull on 5. Allows you to play a Skaar that's only 2, and then you can then follow that up with maybe a Lizard, Ebony Maw, 0, things like that. Always very solid. You can just go 0 straight to Typhoid Mary. You can get the Shuri out there for enormous power. A lot of ways to benefit to get Skaar out early. Something as simple as Shuri Lizard can even get the job done as well. There might be a card or 2 replaced, but I do think Shuri Skaar is going to be a deck for the future, and I'm excited to see how good it gets. Next up is Skaar Evo. This is already such a good deck, guys, and we're adding Skaar to the mix. Now, you can just take Infinite out and try to do some other, different cards and plug and play there. We've got Kyera here instead of Armor. Armor certainly can be in this build as well. You can go Nebula instead of one of the 1 costs. But altogether, this deck does what it always did great. And now we've got freaking Skaar to add to the mix. There's so many ways to get easy 10 cost out there. You can have a huge slam on the last turns of the game with Hulk, Skaar, and She-Hulk. Infinite is there because once you have that turn 7 skip, it just always feels good to have it play out. And we have another big card to help us slam out the power we're trying to achieve. And we have 2 different Lockjaw decks. I think both of these are going to be pretty damn good. And the 2 shells that you probably will see moving forward with Skaar, one of them being a Thanos build and the other one bringing back Jane Jaw. Now, for the Thanos build here, a lot of room for improvement. But overall, love the way that this kind of played out. You guys know it's about ramping into 5-cost cards. And altogether, I loved Kyera in this build as well. Because we have the Blue Marvel to get all the stones up, and then you can cheat out the big cards altogether. This deck just screams high power coming from all angles. Skaar can often be discounted. He feels great to discount because you can play him alongside the stones at any time into Lockjaw. Psylocke feels great to get a big card out early, and it felt really good in testing. Now, as you guys know, Jane Jaw used to rule the meta, and I do think this month it's going to bring the deck back in full force. Now, this is an early build, but also we're going on the high Evo train. We've got Dr. Doom and Odin that obviously are not going to be cards that can give above 10 power, but you also have ways to get Thor and Mjolnir, get Thor above 10 power, Jubilee to cheat out a card early, Hulk, Magneto, and then obviously the discounted Skaar. The play lines are super simple, not a lot to think about here, and it's just a traditional easy deck to play, and I love it. There are some really good Ravonna decks out there, but I want to take it back to Fury Hawks, Rocks and Hawks, and this deck right here I think is close to a build that I'm going to love. This is by far my favorite She-Hulk build, always has been. And I think with the addition of Skaar, it's only going to make the deck more consistent and even better. Now, I am going to perfect it. I think Nick Fury is a fun card. We'll see if he stays for the long haul. Either way, getting more potential She-Hulk, Skaar, big power cards you can play early, and discount with Quinjet just feels really fun and good to play. Miss Marvel is the most natural replacement in this deck to plug in there if you don't have one of these cards or if you want to get rid of Nick Fury. I think this is the way to go, though, and definitely one of the ones I'll be testing the most and might even get the deck guide feature tomorrow. And then lastly, guys, to wrap it up, we end on Big Green Gang. I know you guys were waiting for a Black Knight deck, and this is the early build that I've put together. Again, maybe not perfect, but we're trying to achieve everything that you want in a Black Knight and Skaar build. We've got Zabu and Quinjet to both be able to discount the Ebony Blade. Ebony Blade also is protected by Kyera, who also can be replaced within the deck, something for like maybe Jubilee or Armor. Lady Sif, Ghost Rider, these cards allow us to easily cheat out a big card, and with Kyera, we don't have to worry about Ghost Rider. This thing is so fun, and with the big greens here, it's insane. You could probably do one less big power card if you want to go a bit more safety focused and maybe go with the Jubilee route. You could even go with something like maybe Armor and a Tuma. I saw that in the auto deck builder. Either way, Big Green Gang, though, is going to be a pretty damn good deck. This one leans more into the She-Hulk build, but also the Lockjaw with Hela was just one that I played a lot when Black Knight came out. So one of these two, I think, is going to slap with the Knight. So in conclusion, is Skaar worth grabbing altogether? I think he's not going to change the meta by any means. You're going to see him on ladder. He's definitely going to be in a ton of decks that want 11 raw power. He's got everything you need to be a good card, and if it's the playstyle and the deck building you like, or if you love the deck shells that I showed, that's going to be like the best places for him moving forward. I think Lockjaw is only going to get better as we go through the month, and so if that's a deck you like a lot too, I would consider Skaar. But if you don't know, hang tight, see what other decks come out. I'll definitely be doing my usual deck guide to follow this video after I cover Kyera. And let me know, I'm trying out something new to be able to get a video a bit more fast to you guys. Typically, these videos take a lot of effort, and I can't get a new card video out to the following day. And so if you guys like this, where it's kind of my first impressions, playtesting the card a little bit, some combos, and helping you guys understand it, let me know. Otherwise, I'll go back to the other method. Anyway, good luck out there with Skaar. Have a good one. Have a great one. Until the next one, happy snapping.